Yep.
Get closer. Yeah. Fine.
Yep.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhetamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Um, until now, what all that I have given was about mm, what are the components of dharma. First thing is that I said uh, dharma is something which is supposed to be having the satya, truth.
Mm.
And dharma is something which is supposed to be ahimsa, so that we can live together. Same way we have said about dana. Then tyaga.
Yeah.
Then next one we said also is the indriya nigraha, self-control. These are the things. All these things involve that I part with my riches or my money or something like that, or I do not go for whatever that I have. I control over that. So that was the reason which has given rise to an objection. Why should dharma come in the way of my happiness?
Mm.
So therefore, that we have to substantiate that it is not coming in the way of happiness. So happiness is something which is independent of these things. Not only that, on a long run that they contribute towards happiness is something that we need to give. And in order, this is something which is about the life itself. So now it becomes very important now onwards, because what happens is that the concept of dharma, it pervades every field in our life. See, what we live, what we eat, what we drink, and the lifestyle that is divided, everything is under the gamut of dharma. That's why dharma is something which is so very important. Dharayati dharma. That means to say everything is the pivot, that is base, support, is supposed to be dharma. So therefore it becomes very important to see, we understand. And once we understand that, then you see that what are the components of dharma we have adapted in our day-to-day life in this culture, which can be anything to anywhere to anything. Like, for example, using the haldi, to using the kumkum, to tali that we have, to anything, janwara that we have. So all these things, they are not simple things. They are connected with this dharma concept. So that's why it becomes much more comprehensive. Not only that, I would like to also deal with you in India. It is like this, that you move 100 miles away, the culture is different. Something else is there. You do something, next door neighbor does something else. He's also following dharma, you're also following dharma. So this variety we have, it's also given in this particular culture because of the basis of this dharma. And apart from all those things, there is one more thing, is that this can be updated. This and that, as the time moves, we can move along with that. So how important it becomes, how deep it becomes. So that is the reason why dharma becomes very important. And everything can be questioned. See, there is no question of simply believe in that. So including all the gods and goddesses, everything it is there, you don't have to believe in that. But at the same time, we have developed such a colossal amount of information, knowledge about gods and goddesses and all those things that are there. That's why I have given the idea of how much of literature that is there behind all these ideas of our culture, Sanatana Dharma. So therefore, it is something which is very important. So let us start with that first question that he said, that why Dharma? That means to say, by following Dharma, I'm trying to compromise with my happiness. I don't want to do that. And nothing can come in the way of my happiness. And that is the reason why many people think that Dharma is like killer of happiness.
Very inconvenient.
Inconvenient. And it's just, and joyful, being joyful. Also, sometimes people think that it is like a sin. So you have to be very serious. He's happy means wow, he's away from Dharma. So these are all the wrong notions. This is what we are talking about just now. Idea of, that mithya. These are the things which are supposed to be mithya. They are not there. Happiness is there, everything. So now we will take up these things step by step so that I would like to cover every aspect of dharma under this particular question. That is, does it come in the way of happiness? For that, Upanishad says that look back into question what is the happiness? And rather than questioning what gives us happiness, what is happiness, you look into it. From there, that we proceed further. And why I take the question of Upanishad as the basis for that is, Upanishad is a place where these fundamental questions are discussed. Who am I? What's my nature? Who is this? Where is this creation comes from? Along with that, all these questions, one question is, Kimanandasya Mimamsam, what is the happiness? So that question is also taken up under the Dharma. And now, another very important first point that we need to bring about that happiness is that what kind of happiness are we discussing about? See, often people think that spirituality, happiness, they discuss about it, happiness in meditating, happiness in going to temple, happiness in something, whereas it is worldly happiness. Like, for example, going to a pizza hut is a world happiness, or this Thai places, worldly happiness. There is nothing like that. There is only one experience called happiness that we have. This is he says that Kimananda Singhamsa, what is the Ananda that we are talking about? Adi Shankaracharya, I'm quoting from. He says that Vishaya Vishayi Samparka Janita Anandaha Ahosvita Swabhavikaha. Vishaya is the object outside, Vishaya is I'm enjoying it. And I put them together, the happiness that you get. This is the happiness we are talking about, not any other happiness. And this happiness is not different from the other happiness. So there's only one happiness. Why this becomes very important to think that it's all one happiness? A lot of people think that if I go to the spirituality, I might get the Brahmananda, that's a different spiritual happiness, but I'll be missing this happiness. So I don't want to miss this happiness. Like my brother, they have families, they have this, they have that, and all those things, their car and all that. And they're having happiness. I don't have happiness. I miss that happiness because I became a sannyasi. Or I go to the Yoga Bharati, I come to this particular yoga path. Therefore, I might be missing that happiness. So I should have it. It's as foolish as a beggar, two beggars were thinking and saying, already, if you become like a Bill Gates, what's about your idea? I said, I'll be richer than Bill Gates. Why? I said, Bill Gates will not be doing my job of begging. I may be Bill Gates, but I'll still continue with my job of begging. So I'll get more money in begging. What a thinking it is. And you are getting that happiness that means actually it is richer than this happiness that you get. You don't have to run behind this. Then the advantage of that is that you need object for the sake of living. So you still go to the object for the sake of living. You don't unnecessarily abuse the object. Okay, fine. With everybody, I'll sit down and I will have food. I will have coffee, tea, the way that it is. I become part of the world. Thereby, what happens is that I'm spiritual, but at the same time, I'm a common man. In fact, my friend in Germany, he was saying that, who is a spiritual? You see, he said that, Raghuram, you're very spiritual, he said. And why do you feel like that? He said, you are more common than ordinary common man. You can deal with you so easily. We can talk to you and we can ask you to come for the pizza. You can come go for a movie. You are ready to come. You see, I can't talk about these things with so many people supposed to be spiritual gurus. And whereas on the other hand, you talk about these things. So that means to say your range is coming in. Like for example, you build a house which is 20-floor buildings and all that. But then foundations still have to be on the ground itself. That you do not miss it. So if you think that way, then that's what is the real idea of what is called as happiness. Vishayi which is samparka janitananda ahosut swabhavika. So that's a common man's happiness. So that's why the discussion goes on. Now, before even going to that discussion, the idea is that even in the Panchakosha, that's the same discussion. Even in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, also the same discussion. Your nature is Ananda. That's why Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. I mean, this is, uh, Ananda, that is Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Everywhere that idea of Ananda is common to all these things. So, take anything that you think of in the spirituality, Ananda seems to be your nature. It's a natural state. So, therefore, basically, that we have seen in the Panchakosha Viveka, the very beautiful discussion that goes on between the student and teacher. Who am I? This question. And teacher says, find out for yourself and say who you are. And a very simple answer that anybody can get it, including that student there, Bhrigu, says, I'm this physical body. But a very simple, easy analysis shows that you are not that physical body. The simple thing is you say it is my hand. That itself shows that hand is like an instrument in your. So you are behind the hand. This itself takes you to one step behind. And that one step behind, when you go, you are the prana. The prana is the one which moves the hand. Prana is the one. However little movement it is there, it's all because of prana. I see because of prana. Yes, hear because of prana. Shastra says again that. Vak pranamapyati, chakshu pranamapyati. Everything is because of prana. But then you say, can you go one step behind? Because why prana has to do all those things? Prana doesn't have independence. In fact, that's why Upanishad says, Tasya manayeva atma. The prana is the tool in the hands of manas. Tasya manayeva atma. So manas tells to the prana, move the hand. And then prana moves the hand. So like for example, it is 3-step. Manas is the one. So therefore, the student comes back to the teacher, I am the mind. Manomaya kosha. Mano brahmeti vyajana. Manase eva khalvi. I am the Brahman and I am this Manas. But the teacher says, find out further. Then one more step behind when you take back. You see that why mind has to say that? Mind has to say that because the intellect says that this is good, this is bad. Don't go this way, go this way. Therefore, intellect is saying. Therefore, you are doing it. So mind is an instrument in the hands of intellect. So intellect seems to be the boss of mind. It is the one who decides about that. Intellect is Vijnana. It's our own experience. Any activity that you do it, you see that it is the intellect which is guiding the mind. You are not the mind. Mind is something which is there. We blame the mind. Mind is thinking. Thinking is going on in the mind. Mind doesn't keep it. Intellect is the one which is actually, mind says that I am not independent. Intellect is making me to work. So therefore I work. But why don't you tell the intellect itself? But then intellect, so therefore the student comes back, says, I'm the intellect, Jnanamaya Kosha. Here the whole Western world stops at the level of Vijnanamaya Kosha, intellect. Only the Indian philosophy is the one which says that go behind the mind, intellect. What is that? If there are two ways that you can look at it, intellect functions. Why it says that this is good and this is not good? Because this gives ananda, this doesn't give ananda. Like for example, a music. Go for this, nice music program is going on. Why don't you go for that music program? Have you heard that? Yeah, I went. I went for that. How is it? It's horrible. If it is horrible, then why do you ask me to go there? If it is good, then I will go. If it is horrible, you don't ask me to go there. I have seen the movie of, the latest, like for example, Article 370 movie. I said, no, I've seen it. Absolutely horrible. Then don't ask me to go for that. You see, what is guided by is the Ananda. So intellect also subserves Ananda. It, for the sake of Ananda, it does it. Intellect does not have any independence at all. And intellect is, and it belongs to you, you are the boss of it. So therefore, Ananda is the boss of intellect. That's one way of looking at it. And that's what you are, because you are the boss. All these things belong to you only. Now the next question comes, but how do you say that I am Ananda? Simple thing is, when intellect also stops, You're still existing as Ananda. That's what is the sleep state. So in the sleep, you enjoy the sleep. In fact, it is so pure enjoyment of the sleep that even the reporter is not there. In the sleep, you don't say that I'm enjoying the sleep, nothing like. After getting up, you say that I enjoyed sleep. But there is nothing, no reporter at all. You enjoy the sleep. There is nothing going on. Intellect, that's what Upanishad says. Buddhischana vicheshtati. Even the intellect is also not functioning. But you are there. Tamahuhu paramam gatim. That's what is your state. So therefore you are Ananda. Now, my whole pursuit of question is that, Hari, I'm going to the object for sake of Ananda. But you seem to suggest to say that your nature is Ananda. Now, two questions come up. One is that, but then why it appears that our object is trying to give me happiness? This is what is Maya. Maya is that even though we know very well that object cannot give me happiness, object apparently gives me happiness, appearing to be giving me happiness. We know very clearly that sun doesn't rise and sun doesn't set. It is the earth which moves. But it's better we still say that sun rises, sun sets. Convenience sake. So convenience sake that it looks like that object is giving me happiness, but deep inside I know very well object is not giving me happiness. Happiness is my own nature. Now this question comes, if happiness is your own nature, how is that object appears to be giving you happiness? It is somehow or the other, the object puts you in contact with the happiness of which your own nature. Every object which puts you in the contact with your nature called as happiness, you feel that object is giving you happiness. Appears to be like that. Whereas an object which does not put you in touch with the contact of your own nature, you see this, there is no happiness in this object.
For example,
An object,
coffee regular.
yes. If somebody who really doesn't like coffee, absolutely, then you ask him, you should enjoy coffee. No. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. Like, you all know, everybody knows all over the world that I don't enjoy sweets.
Yeah.
Okay. But then some people are there who
They
do
don't
not
know.
know that. I was in Japan, traveling various places. And our coordinator there in Japan, Kimura, he said, Raghuramji, you will go this way, this way, this way, this way. And this day, you will go to this Nagasawa place and all that. That's Tottori you go. And there you will enjoy the Indian food because Nagasawa's wife is an Indian and she is our student. Ramji, you'll be meeting her, so she will prepare nice food for you. Particularly when somebody says like that, expectations go up.
So is that Ananda? You're thinking
Yes.
that object is going to give you-
Yes, I'm going to have a nice food and have Ananda and all that. And then I went there, a shock of my life, because she comes from Maharashtra. And in Maharashtra, when a special guest comes, they'll make only Puran Poli. That is holige. No other food.
Oh.
And then she said, Raghuramji, I made Puran Poli. Oh my God. And then on top of, okay, there's no other food, so let me eat that. But on the top of it, she says, Raghuramji, you should enjoy. You can ask. To fill my stomach with that is okay, but don't tell me to enjoy that. See, an object which doesn't give you joy, you can't enjoy it. That's a simple thing. So I said, okay, you give me puran poli, but at least if you have some pickles, you give it to me. No, we don't have any pickles at home. Anyway, so like that. The object appears to be giving you happiness. Some object doesn't give you happiness, but the same object he gives me happiness one time may not give happiness second time. Like for example, coffee gives me happiness first time, but then second coffee will not give you. Third coffee already diminishing returns. That means that what happens on the first time, it's not happening second time, not happening third time. Why? That is somewhere something is happening to me when I have that cup. First time coffee doesn't happen second time, third time. Movie, first time when I see something happens, second time, third time it doesn't happen. What is happening? Why it is that happening? For that, we need to understand one thing that Shastriji very beautifully analyzed that, saying that there is always some restlessness in our mind.
Yeah.
Some restlessness or the other in the mind. It's built because of our own interaction with the world outside and all those things. Gadget, this, that, and so many things that are there. So that's why we are caught up in that. And when you take an object, that means actually it has precise state in the mind. And what is the way that you see that restlessness is? Just sit quiet. 5 minutes you can sit quiet. 10 minutes as a challenge you can. Afterwards you feel like getting up. You feel like doing something other. If not anything else, at least move the hands or legs or something like that. Why? In fact, Swami Anbananda says like that. If somebody is moving the legs, like you want to walk fast, go ahead. But basically, it is the way that we spent our restless energy inside. This is what is called as boredom. Nobody understood, analyzed about this boredom like the way Indian philosophy says. This boredom, they have beautiful words in Sanskrit about that, saying that boredom is a restlessness not because of any particular reason. Like, for example, exam time, you have to prepare for an exam. So there is a restlessness. Or some event has to, travel, you have to do it. There is a particular purpose there. You have the activity that's going on. You still have mind going on. Can I do this or will I, what else? Am I forgetting something like that? All these things are there in the case of mind when there is a purpose. But boredom is where there is no purpose, there is no reason, but you are restless inside.
Mm.
This is what is called as anadi avidya, mula avidya. It comes from deep inside, not particular reason. It's not born because of any particular karya karana sambandha. Therefore, it is basic restlessness that we have. And unfortunately, what happens is baseline for the basic restlessness is increasing over a period of time. 3, 4, 5 generations back, man was not just restless, he was peaceful. My grandfather, he would finish his work in the field. Any of us, it's like that. And then he will come back home, have food and all that. By 4 o'clock, he will sit down comfortably. 4 to 9 in the night, he will just sit down in his chair. No, nothing. No book, no nothing to read, nothing. He was so peaceful. Never complained of boredom. Next generation, then when my father died, they were already getting bored when they were 60 years. Because gadgets have come. Supports have come to take care of your energy. So radio has come. That was thing. And say, oh, nice program. There's no nice program in radio. So getting bored. Similarly, a next generation later, by the time TV has come. So that means more energy spent material and more restless because that avenue is stopped for you. So that you become restless. TV is there, okay, we'll watch and see. But if TV is not there, oh, getting restless, bored. So like that, one after the other, generation later, we are getting boredom early on.
Mm.
Now, we never knew what is called as boredom when we were 10, 12 years old. But today, 10, 12-year-old people, children say that I'm getting bored. 3, 4-year-old child says I'm getting bored. That means early on boredom is setting. Restlessness. That means to say energy back in the brain, in the head region. And then you would like to spend off that energy by some means or the other. In fact, how beautifully that it is, it is expressed in terms of in the bus stand. That was when we were traveling with Shastri Jana, going to Prashanti, waiting for the bus stop. And then that fellow used to come with the peanuts. And says, time pass peanuts. That means you're getting bored, have this peanut. There's no calorie, no nothing. It's only time pass. So we do everything for the sake of time pass. If we don't do those things, we are bored.
Yeah.
Boredom is the one which is basically pressurizing us. And we spend away that energy in the form of so that we get the relief from the boredom in the head region. This emptiness of the head is something which is giving you happiness. Peanuts do not give us happiness. but that emptiness is giving us the happiness. But peanuts appears to be giving us happiness. Movie appears to be giving us happiness, but movie is creating that emptiness behind it. Therefore, that you feel happiness. An object, desire for the object is something which is bothering you. Now you have the object, the desire is quenched, so that you become peaceful inside. So, desire and having a cup of coffee, there's no difference. Only thing is here, general boredom, there it is created by a particular direction in the object outside. I've seen somebody's car, I must have that kind of a car. Now you search for all those things and then get a car, maybe better car than that. Wow, fine. But that satisfaction that you get is for momentary. Next moment, again something happens. This is what's happening with us. Object appears to be giving happiness. Now what happens? Because I need to get an object, so I work, and then get the object. And that object gives me a small little piece of happiness. I'm satisfied. Then again. So every object giving us happiness is mind becoming quiet. In fact, an object which makes you the mind quiet quickly, you get addicted to it. See what happens to the mind. An object, you get it and you search for it. Every object comes with a small print. It just does not come like that for happiness. Like, for example, the sari in the shop gives me happiness. The moment it comes to my house, gone, finish. Because by the time it comes to the house, it has come with a small print. That's what in your cupboard, the sari is there. Looking at the sari in the cupboard doesn't give you happiness. You have to wear that sari to go outside and everybody has to appreciate. Then you get happiness. Everybody pats your back. But then you can't wear that expensive sari and go to buy Kathmiri, You have to find an occasion. So you look at some occasion where some marriage, something like that. And then you wear the sari and go there, put on the sari, all that. And in front of everybody, you are there, like, this catwalk like thing. And there, everybody looks at you and says that, how is your husband's business? How is your work going on? How is your IT? How is this? How is that? Everybody talks about everything in this world, but not about your sari. Ordinary sari will give you ordinary misery. Expensive sari will give you expensive misery. But you just don't want to give up. Yeah, like Manikarnika, you have energy in you. So you look at, in all these big parties and all that, somebody will tray of the wine, drinks, and this and that. You don't want to take risk with them. Somebody carrying water, just go to him, give a kick. Water spills on your, wow, expensive sari. And everybody looks at it. Said, how much did you? So much. Oh, wow. You see that? It's like, now you are happy. See, it's a long journey, but mind becomes peaceful at that time. Not that the water he spilled, that's important, but people recognize it's an expensive sari. So this is what essentially the happiness is from the object outside. Appears to be giving you happiness, but actually it is not happiness. It's emptiness that's there within you, and that's what is the happiness that you experience that and you feel happy. Now the question comes, it's all right. Why not then? Object at least makes me to feel that I feel happy for a moment. How does it matter? It's all right, 1 moment, 2 moments, and all that. But what happens is that this is what in Mahabharata, Vyasa says that if you desire, subserve the desire by providing an object, what happens is that for a moment it looks like that you satisfied the desire. That means you quench the desire. But next time, the desire comes with greater pressure because what happens is the desire thinks that you are ready to take care of a desire. Not the happiness, take care of a desire. So it comes with a greater intensity. Any moment of happiness it comes with a greater intensity. That's why we get lost into that. It starts with small little thing, it mounts. It's like the way that how beautifully Vyasa puts it is that the fire is there, and then you want to quench the firewood, and you put the cold firewood there. In the beginning, because it's cold firewood, the fire seemed to be uh, reducing. But next moment, because that firewood also subscribes to that fire, the fire comes with greater force. So that is what he says. Najatu kama kamana upabhogena shamyate havisha brahmavatyaiva. That means in the havish, the way that you put it, he puts that, in the ghee you put it. The ghee for a moment, it's a liquid, looks like that it's quenching the fire, but actually it comes out with a greater force. So our every happiness, the object that we give, it becomes multiplied. Then what happens is, that's why Maulana Sirudin said, no, I never exceeded my drinking. I drink only one peg. And later drinks, that peg drinks. It's not that I'm drinking. The first peg I drink, but then the later, that will go on. This is what happens with other object outside. There are so many things about this object. One thing is that you are becoming more and more dependent on the object outside. You are going to the object outside for the sake of happiness. It doesn't stop there. Now, what happens is that it calls for more and more objects, greater and greater forces. So you are becoming enslaved by the object outside. You lose your freedom. So this is what is the problem with the object, going to the objective world outside for the sake of happiness, which is our own nature. Now that means I handed over my nature to something else, somebody else for the sake of taking care of it. I forgot. So therefore, that don't go behind the object outside. But then object itself does not give happiness, but the sensory organ giving me happiness because it's interacting with that. Now he says that if the sensory organ doesn't go outside, then you are within yourself. So you see, object is trying to put you back the sensory organ to yourself. Then why don't you try to put the sensory organ back into yourself? This is what is called as jitendriya. I don't want to put my sensory organ to the world outside, because very simple thing is, very clearly sensory organ is there to interact with the world outside, and you are the boss. Outside world is not the boss, and therefore food is there for sake of hunger. Hunger will go for the food. That's all, not beyond that. So this is what is called as the idea of Indriya Nigraha, Jitendriya. Now this Indriya Nigraha, if you do it for the sake of just simply controlling it, then it will not be productive. Because basically that you are controlling at the same plane that I don't want to go. A lot of people try to do that because they say that don't go behind the food, behind this thing, because it causes health problem, this problem, that problem. That means all those problems are same at the material level. Now, if I don't have this problem, can I go? All right, you have diabetes, so you don't go for sweets. I don't have diabetes. Can I go for sweets? No, you can also control it. Why don't you go for that? So therefore, it's not the question of that it is because the problem that creates outside, you control it. Because basically you are the boss of the senses. And you have to have the control over the senses as the boss, not because that the senses have to control you. This is what is Jitendriya. This is what is Samyamendriya. So now, how can I say that? That means to say I'm trying to control for the sake of I am the boss. I need to control the senses. This I is at a higher pedestal. So for a higher purpose, I do the control. That's what is dharma. Dharma doesn't say that simply control. A lot of people do the controls. In fact, that's what in the world outside. If somebody has to do something or the other, then he has to do the sanyama control so that he will achieve whatever it is. Material world also people do that sanyama for achieving material progresses. But here is the progress is not material world, but it is at a higher level that I can come back to my freedom, my own nature. That's why I do it. So this is a big difference between the normal, ordinary disciplining of the world outside and this yogi doing a discipline. And so that you get an achievement. That is what you say. You get the joy also. This is what he says that Kimanandasya Mimamsyam. What is the ananda we are talking about? Vishay Vishay Samparka Janita Ananda. When the subject and when the object and the sensory organ put together, ananda, that you get, that's what is ananda. He says that for that he gives a condition in the Taittiriya Upanishad. says that it's not just only the sensory organ going to the object outside, but the sensory organ that is individual should have all these qualities. Then only it is called as one unit of Ananda. What are the qualities? He should be youthfully young. Yuvasyat sadhu yuvadhyayaka. Yuvasyat. That means like a child, like a young person, youth, he should be youthfully young. Some people are young, but absolutely they are not youthful. They always talk in terms of as if, the fellow is 15 years, 12 years, and he says, in my earlier day, what is earlier days? When I was young, I talk like this. Come and have something. No, I think, I need to look into my health and all. Bapre. So somebody is youthfully young. Yuvasya sadhu yuvadhyayaka. Means what? Asishto, dradishto, balishta. That means yes, desire. Asishtaha, desire. Desire should be not only his desire, but also he should also have the idea of balishtaha. That means he should have strength. Not only just strength, dradishtaha. Stamina also he should have. Fine. Like the other day, we went to Mailare dosa. How many dosas? 6 dosas. Wow. No, one dosa is good. What kind of a person you are? Mom, you know, somebody the other day was saying that I love this Gandhi Bazar area. Why? Because every day I can go to Vidyarthi Bhavan. And then 4 dosas. Table 4 dosas. I ordered for all my 4. The waiter says that others are coming. No, no, for me. For this is what is. You have to have a stamina. You have to have digestion capacity. Asishto, dradishto, balishtaha. When you have all those things, then the ananda that you get. But that's not good enough. He says one more class, he puts it. I have all those things, but then I don't have money to buy. So you must have that also. So tasyayam prithvi sarva vittasya purna syat. You have anything that you want at your fingertips, you have that. You can get it. So this is what is called as young, youthful. And it's also another beautiful class that is youthfully young. Is another very often what happens is that we used to experience that in the school days. You buy a mango, a raw mango, and eat it. It will not be tasteful. As you go to the mango yard, and then you hit it with a stone, and the mango, and then that fellow comes running, and then you catch that, and that mango tastes so beautiful. So this is what is idea. You should be young, youthful.
So that is also bringing Ananda. No?
Yeah, and that gives greater Ananda. Yes, you achieved. My father, he always used to buy, this in our hometown, we never used to have this chukke balayan, big one. When Hyderabad we would come, then they would get it. It's very nice.
But here also many people get caught, no? I've seen nowadays parents, they say, you should not do that and then eat like that. You should buy
I tell people that do it. If not do, when you become 60 years, why are you going to do it? At that time, you can't even take ripe mango. Why forget about raw mango? Now you can take raw mango and all those things you can do. So in
so
fact,
that is not Jitendriya at all, no? Because
yeah,
it's
right.
an unwanted control.
See, yes, correct. It's not the question of that you are suppressing the sensory organ. Suppressing happens in the same plane, but Jitendriya is from a higher plane that you do it. So that's what is the idea. So my father, when myself and my mother, we went to Hyderabad, and whenever we'd go with him, and then he would stay in Taj Mahal Hotel. It's a very nice place. And then we had nice lunch and then sleep. He was sleeping. I never sleep in the afternoon that way. I was not sleeping. So I came out for walking. I went around for a walk, Koti area. And then I came back. Then there's nice, wonderful bananas were sitting there. I said, anyway, he buys. So today let me buy. So I bought some 6 bananas, nice, wonderful things, and then went to the room. When I went to the room, suddenly found out my father already got up, he bought 6 bananas. He's in the bathroom. My God, now he sees my 6 bananas. Why did you bring it? Finish. In one go, I finished all the 6 bananas. Then comes out, Raghu, can you have one banana? Oh, yeah, I'm happy to have it. She has that kind of a stamina. So, this is what is the idea. You enjoy that way. Ashisto, Dridishto, Balishta. Tasyayam Sarva Putras Vittasya Purnas. Sayeko Manusham. That's one unit of happiness. See, with all those things, one unit of human happiness. Manushyananda. Te Shatam Manushyanam Anandaha. 100 times that Manushyananda. Sayeko Manushya Gandharvanam Anandaha. It is equivalent to one Manushya Gandharva Ananda. Now, what is that Manushya Gandharva? See, people think about Gandharva means that there is some other world, and there are some souls are there which are supposed Gandharvas and all that. It's not like that. It's a very simple idea. Gandha is the fragrance. A flower, when it is in the bud, it doesn't smell. But the moment it opens up, it gives gandha. So that means to say something which is extraordinary than the material. See, flower petals are material, everything is material, pollen is material, everything is material. But when it opens up, the gandha comes. This is extra material. This is what is there. Words are there, logic is there, everything is there. But what is much more than that? When you put them in the form of poetry, the joy that you get is Gandharva.
So Bhavana is Gandharva.
Bhavana is Gandharva. It's rising above the level of material. So much above the material. Material value is nothing. Like the flute, when you take it, the wood is so insignificant wood, cheap wood. Of all the woods, the bamboo is the cheapest. And there also you have holes. And then you throw the exhaling air. It's also unwanted air. But the melody that you get, what is the material value? What is this? This is what is Gandha. Gandha is that. But you need to practice that. This is what is a human being when he practices and practices to a level where he is able to produce that sense of music, sense of bhavana in that. This is what is Manushya Gandha. When any art that you take, when you start enjoying that art, until that time it's painful. But once you start enjoying that art, at that time you are hungry, food is there, you enjoy the food, all those things. But that's one human happiness. But then the happiness that you continue to do this gives you is so much more your experience. That's wait, I'm coming. Just give me one more minute. Give me some more time. You don't want to go. It's your own experience. Why do you want to go? Why don't you want to go? Because here there is a greater ananda. This is what is how much greater? 100 times greater than that. That's why it is 100 times greater than human happiness. If you pick up any, that's why I always say to the people, have some art or the other, something or the other, at least something like storytelling, something like doing some rangoli, something like that, because that gives you ananda. You know that it's not material, something beyond that.
The creativity gives that.
Yes. So the creativity is not there in this cell phone.
Because creativity does not come from intellect. It comes from
It's far beyond that intellect. Something like that. This is what is Manushya Gandharvanam Ananda. And that is 100 times greater than the human happiness. Te shatam Manushyanam Anandaha Sayeko Manushya Gandharvanam Ananda. But then he says that Te shatam Manushya Gandharvanam Anandaha Sayeko Deva Gandharvanam Anandaha. What is this Deva Gandharva? Deva is, actually, as I said, Gandha, music, art, this, that, this is what is Gandha. But when it is an ordinary level, it is Gandha. When you multiply by 1,000,000 times, it's supposed to be Divya, Deva. Ordinary candlelight is there, it's a lamp. Sun is 1 billion candlelights. So that's why sun god. So Deva Gandharva, for him, it's not just a art, but it comes in such a way that it's a flood-like art, flood-like music. Before he was born, before she was born, the art has come.
Yeah.
Therefore, what happens is that person, 5, 7, 8 year old,
Mm.
but then have so much of joy, so much of music. My God, where did she learn so much of music? Where does it come from? Unless until somebody practices for 80, 100 years, you will not become an artist of that caliber. And then she's only 3, 5 years, 6 year old. Have you heard of Ganga? Violin. These days on the YouTube, you can see that. She doesn't even look at the violin, and then she'll be playing very happily. But the music that she gets is out of the world. And she's 6 year old. 6 year old. She's from Kerala. So this means basically the ananda she gets 100 times greater than ordinary human happiness.
Mm.
And not only that, what she plays, people, hundreds of people enjoy that. In fact, once it so happened, one such extraordinary uh, child artist later on he became elderly person. We had such people around here. So he was like that. Madurai, so he sang so beautiful. Amsadhvani. You were there in the audience, and when he sings, time is not a barrier. You cross all the time. Going on and on and on for a couple of hours. At the end of it, everybody got up and clapped because they really felt the joy.
Mm.
When everybody expressed that, he said on the mic, it's so beautiful. He said, I know that all of you have enjoyed my singing. I'm very happy. I also enjoyed singing. But let me share with you my own idea. He said that whatever the joy that you get, so much of you, all of your joy put together, my joy in singing is much more than that.
Mm.
I enjoyed that. So that means your joy is at that level while singing. Therefore, what happens, and this is not only there, all over there. In fact, Mozart, when he produced that music of Mozart, I mean, it's something like this that anywhere that I'm a little bit of Mozart music is there, I know that it is Mozart. One simple line that somebody has done, I can see that, oh, it is M.F. Hussain he has driven there. These are the artists, extraordinary. Of the recent times, I mean, I go for all kinds of music. There's one, Caroline, she's there from USA. She's hardly 8, 9 year old. Her violin, she just jumps with the violin and dances with the violin, but then violin is playing.
Mm.
And the such big numbers that he plays,
Mm.
extraordinary.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think my driver has come. So therefore, what happens is that the joy that they get is 100 times greater than ordinary human happiness. That's what he says that te shatam manushya gandharvanamantaha sayeko deva gandharvanam. That's the reason why these artists, when they were singing, they have in such an ecstatic state. It was like they're on the top of Himalayas. And when the singing is over, when they come down, it's like somebody has pushed them from the Himalayas. It's falling down. They can't bear with that fall. They can't sustain that. Therefore, what they do is that they try to forget about themselves. That's the reason most of the people become addicted, because the drink is the way that they can forget themselves. Womanizing is the way that they get. So that's what happens. Unfortunately, that becomes a victim mode. Everybody goes through that. Few people who saved from that is the person who was like Bismillah Khan. Extraordinary Shahana music. But what he does, early morning, he goes to the Ganga in Varanasi, takes a dip, comes out, goes to a temple, Shiva temple, and then there he starts singing. That means he is not singing for himself. Ego is completely dissolved, which means basically when you are singing that your ego is completely dissolved. That's what is the idea that you get. mind becomes empty. Ego means all the thoughts and worries, mind becomes empty. Emptiness of the mind is giving them happiness. Like that Karma Devanandam, like that he says at the top level, he says Brahmana Ananda. But then the question comes, that is, somebody is a singer, then he gets that happiness. But I'm not a singer, I don't get that happiness. You mean to say that I'm losing that state of happiness? This is where Upanishad says you don't lose that. Because whatever that happiness that he gets is because that mind has become silence. If you can silence your mind, calm down your mind, you can reach that ananda. That's what is the purpose of yoga. That's the purpose of meditation, to see that how I can reach that state of peace of mind. So this is what it is. Consciously, I can quieten my mind. Shrotriyasya akamahatasya. Akamahata, avrijinasta, like that. There are so many adjectives that are there. That means kama is my mind is running around, wandering. Akamahataha, that means I'm caught up into no kama at all. I'm peaceful. I just don't. In fact, it happens to us when you're listening to the music, you forget about the time. If you listening to the music can go to a state where you can forget about the time, what will happen to the singer? He will forget about everything. That's the silence he gets it. So therefore, that there are so many levels of ananda that is there, and that is actually that levels of silence within you. Touch that silence. This is what is the idea. He says that let's continue the discussion to see that how this further leads to the idea of dharma and this how we can get this.
So everywhere I have a choice actually.
Yes,
Because that also will give me no mind state.
right.
This something which you said, the inward
Yeah,
thing also will give me no mind, but I need to choose the one beside which is going to be more
Right.
elevating me,
yes,
but also gives me that.
right. But what happens is that now I have given the whole philosophy, ideas, but how many people know about these things? So I need to create a structure in the society that people will go in that direction. How are people manage the structure? It's a very extraordinary thing. That's why I said that this discussion, Dharma, it so encompassing, the whole culture itself it encompasses. That's what we're going to talk about.
Why is the restlessness of the world increasing?
Why is the?
See, one hand, happiness is to
Yeah.
calm down that
Yeah.
restlessness, but we are seeing the restlessness increasing and
It's
increasing.
increasing. It becomes like that. See, what happens is that
Vishaya addiction. is there.
Vishaya's rampant is there. So that's what is happening. It helps people to get out of it so easily. See, earlier what used to happen is that when they don't have avenues for that happiness, they continue holding on to something or the other.
Right.
But today it is not like that. The moment, see, earlier we never, in our own condition when we take it, earlier we didn't have money. Okay, I'll have to have money. I'll have to have money for my son, my daughter, my this thing. Like, see, we never feel that I can come out of it. Today, how many people are coming out of it? So I don't need that. See, it makes easy to come out of it because that plenty is there. When plenty is there, then you don't see the charm in that. That's what is happening. See, this is what is basically spiral. It goes down to come up. A wave which goes trough comes up as a crest much more wider. That's what is happening in this world.
The restlessness is also because we are instantly gratifying ourselves.
That's why everything becomes instant. Everything becomes, and that makes you easily tired very fast. There is no object that gives me joy now. See, that's what youngsters will say. Yesterday when I was talking, there is no object which gives me joy now. What to do with that? World has become, and she is a big scientist coming from USA. Okay. She's crying. She said, I don't know what to do. She's hardly 30 years, 32 years or something. So 32 years, you already became like you don't have anything in this world. Depressed.
Yeah. When you are depressed, then the Vishaya which used to give you happiness also is not giving you that.
Doesn't give any more happiness. Because you see that all that Vishaya now exhausted. There's no Vishaya that is left for me. experience the happiness. Experience the happiness. And in fact, when I go deeper than that, now I see that I try to next few class, I'll give you the difference between the happiness and ananda.
Oh, I thought it's a translation.
Huh?
I thought happiness, ananda.
Ananda, it is at one level, but I would like to give you that addition, that something, that extra.
Bliss.
I'm just preempting the thought, but otherwise that's
Just a point here.
Yeah.
The concept of Ananda is very nicely treated here in the Upanishads, but
Yeah.
what about some of the other religions, maybe Christianity or
In the other
Buddhism,
religion, they don't have
Buddhism?
any idea of happiness. Buddhism talks about shunya. That's a very nice thing.
Yeah.
Because whatever that emptiness of mind we are talking about,
Mm.
that's what Buddhism has picked up from the Indian thought itself. Nagarjuna puts very beautifully about that. Buddha himself has not elaborated, but Nagarjuna elaborated. Nagarjuna has written the Buddha's philosophy. Abhinavagupta, Nagarjuna, these are people that they have put it.
Maybe
But
they are bringing it through the concept of heaven and that
yeah, I mean,
somewhere far off land it
the
is.
Western people. So now what happens is that we also have heaven. We also have hell. That means what is that? Punya Papa, and then the idea of Swarga and Naraka and all that. But our concept of Swarga and Naraka is so totally different from the concept of the Western people will give. Indian culture is given. Very methodically, they have put all these things. So, thank you so much. Om Shanti Shanti. Yes, Shastrigali.
Namaskar, sir. Thank you. Yeah, you were mentioning about the singer getting
Yeah.
the pleasure at saying that more than what you heard, the singing itself gave me a pleasure.
Yeah.
It reminds me of my father telling me, when the audio cassette started coming, I recorded some of his favorite singers and then brought home, and then I started playing it. He said, ಇಲ್ಲ ಕಣೋ ಆ ಹಾಡುಗಳು ಸಂಗೀತಗಾರರು ಆನಂದದಿಂದ ಅವ್ರು ಹಾಡಿದ್ರೇನೆ ಮಜಾ ಬರೋದು ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋಲ್ಲ.
That is very true.
Yeah, so that is what I do. And second thing, I just wanted to let people know that I just posted the small clip of that Ganga you were referring to.
Oh yeah, okay. It's there for the people
Yeah,
there.
I just put, into the satsang group.
Out of the world, Ganga.
Yeah, it is. Okay, sir, thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you. Mhm.
Right.